Jess in New Jersey. Jess, what's going on?
If you were to say you'd be a Christian tomorrow, I'd be like, what the fuck?
I'd probably be like,
That's
what
fair.
the fuck, too, because I'd be wondering what's going on, you know? Man.
He'd probably ask him, actually, I take back what I said. If you said you were going to be a Christian tomorrow, I would ask you what Christian organization is paying you. Who are you being a shill for?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I was an atheist just yesterday, but the Lord came into my heart.
Dude, but here's the thing, right? If I did, like, how many Christian conferences would put me up to talk about that, right?
You'd be making bank.
I'd totally sell out. So, I don't know.
Who's paying you and how much?
Right?
You know?
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, what's up, Jess? How's it going?
All right, well, good. This is the third time I've called in, and I tell you, I want so bad just to be part of this family, you know?
What? Who says you're not part of the family, Jess? You are part of the family.
You're in now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. ExCultBaby, I just want to say that one thing that you said that really, really got to me. I was a diehard Christian 20 years ago. I'm 54 right now. I was a diehard Christian. I read the Bible every day. I got up every morning early to watch Christian TV on TV. I tithed 10% of what little income I had. I'd go to church every Sunday. And I never stopped, you know, like what you were saying. I didn't stop believing in God or in a higher power for a while. Like when I, was out of it, I stopped going, and I stopped whatever for a while. But I never really stopped believing in a God when I was out of it. But when I really, it was like 2014 when I finally. Actually, I discovered Satanism. And, then at the same time, I discovered Atheist Experience. And I just started watching a lot
Never
of
heard of that show.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
right. On YouTube. And I've been watching Talk Heathen since episode 1. And I'm still very much a part of that. I got through on one of those episodes, and the third time I've been on this show. I'm still looking for your email, Dan. And let me see. I got a couple of things I wanted to address here.
All right, pick
one.
Let's do. Can we do like one? Maybe two, because we do have one other caller, and we do want to try to wrap things up.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, the first, the main thing I want to just say, whenever I go to the brain injury support groups, or anything that I've been to over the last 35 years of this, injury, people have always told me, and then this is going to the free will thing you brought up. Have always told me was that I have so much courage to go through what I've had and what I've gone through. And my argument has always been that it's not about courage, it's about not having a choice.
Right.
And it's, it's kind of like my feeling has always been, it's like you have no rational justification to make that claim that you have no courage unless you have been there. And it's like, well, they say, well, you really did have a choice because this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, and I'm like, well, okay, yes, I did. But then knowing on the inside, well, no, you don't really know. I didn't really have a choice. But, I don't know. I still feel like I didn't really have a choice. Now, I don't know if that's because it's just who I am and what I am. I don't really feel that I had a choice or that I didn't have a choice. And I've been thinking a lot about this free choice thing lately, and it's like, I'm sort of like, well, I don't know if I'm like mad at it, but it's just sort of like, I don't really care. As far as I'm concerned, I have free choice. As far as with going through what I did with my accident goes, I didn't have a choice. So, you know, it's sort of like, I don't really know. I'm sort of in conflict there. As far as, you know, my going through what I went through, as far as that goes, I didn't have a choice. But as far as free will goes, well, yeah, I had a free will. It's just sort of like ExCultBaby was saying before, well, whether, I don't remember exactly what it was you were saying before, whether it was, well, do I have this choice in food or do I not? Or,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. You know, yeah. So it's like, well, yeah, I do have free choice. Now, I don't know if it falls under, well, it's like, oh, yeah, of course you do. So it's like, I believe in free choice as far as that goes.
Okay.
And it's like, I have to live in a world, well, yeah, we do have free choice. But then when brought down to the issue of, like, again, like I said, our accident, well, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't have a choice.
What do you think about this, ExCultBaby?
I will say, as far as like kind of just people being like, "Oh, you're so courageous because you went through this," it just being like, I didn't really have a choice. I've totally been there. I mean, obviously not with exactly the same thing, but you know, people have told me before that I'm like really brave and really strong for kind of like having gotten out of a cult, but it's kind of like I was kicked out of it. You know, I don't feel like I was brave.
I did this stuff wrong. Okay, like
yeah, I did it the absolute wrong way. I didn't really have a choice in that. So yeah, it's kind of weird in that respect. But if I'm understanding you correctly, I guess that I kind of agree that we have free choice as far as nothing that we know of is necessarily keeping us from making other choices than we do, but at the same time, there, like kind of like Dan was saying, there appears to be kind of some kind of mechanical processes that determine what kind of decisions we are going to make when it comes to actually making decisions. So it's kind of like I could have chosen anything, but in the end, I really was only ever going to choose this one thing. At least that's my opinion.
In my case, it was either, you know, get better or die. It was sort of like, well, there's really not a choice there.
You're put in extraordinary circumstances, and so you know you did what you had to because you had a will to survive, right? So I guess I think
my point.
There are so historically, and I'm not saying that this is the case. Historically, there was a belief that suicide was like a coward's option, you know, and there are some cultures that espouse that belief. So I'm wondering if maybe when people are talking about courageous, it's like, oh, you chose to live, you chose to keep on fighting, rather than, and again, this is in other people's eyes, you know, taking kind of what would be considered the coward's way out. So maybe there's like, it seems to me that that's there's a historical reason as to why we would call that a courageous act as well. I read a great quote about courage the other day, but I can't remember exactly how it went, but it said something along the lines of, courage is not when you have the strength to do something, but it's when you feel like you don't have the strength and you do it anyway. I'm paraphrasing here, but like...
I know what quote you're talking about.
Yeah, something like that. I think, like, again, you were put under extraordinary circumstances, and so in your worldview and your survival mechanisms kicking in, you're saying, well, I have to do this because I feel like otherwise this means death in some circumstances, right? Or this means an option that wouldn't allow me to live in the way that I could possibly live, right?
When your imperative is to survive, it doesn't feel like courage because it's just like, this is what I have to do. I just have to. This is what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, I certainly don't want to die. So it's like, it's like, I want to live. That's the goal. So I don't have a choice.
Yeah. So that's interesting to talk about it in that sense because Yeah, because when we talk about like when people choose to go fight for their country, or like when people choose to put their savings into something into an idea that they think is kind of crazy, right? Like that's kind of what we mean when we say, well, I don't have a choice. Like, did they actually have a choice given those circumstances? I have no idea. I really don't. I don't know. It seems to me that like the person with all their chemistry being put in that situation, maybe they actually didn't have a choice. Maybe that was like the output to the inputs to their body, right? The input was all of the context in their lives up until that point in the situation on hand, and the output was, well, I can only make this one choice. Could be. I'm not sure.
Or maybe it was the goal that you were, wanting to achieve. Maybe it was how important that goal was to you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm
that's
just
true.
saying this for the
That's true because there needs to be a hierarchy of values there, right? So like most people would put their own lives as something they value. Some people may not, put it as high and given circumstances. And then
actually, I'm just thinking of this just now. It's sort of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
right? Exactly.
I think for some people, their avoidance of suffering comes before their own life. And I guess if you're looking at it that way, it could make sense to say that you were being courageous, but really only in the circumstances that you would be making the choice to prioritize your life over suffering, possibly.
Yeah. The courage comes from deciding to move on despite the suffering, right? Despite the harm. Yeah. So I guess that's what people mean.
I've never thought about that before. This is like sort of an epiphany for me here.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was, I don't really know if I want to call in tonight or not, but then you got on this free choice thing, and I was like, wow. And then it was like tears are coming to my eyes, and I'm like, oh, shit, man, you got to call in.
Well,
Jess, I was just like, and I was like, really, I was really getting off on what ExCultBaby was saying. I was like, oh, Jesus, this is. And then the other callers, I was like, B walking around naked. And I'm like, holy shit. I was just like really getting into that before I had a cat, and I had to like leave the blinds up a little bit. I was like, oh, shit. And then it was like what a couple of the other callers were saying too. I was like, I was like getting off on that. So I was like, this has been an excellent show. So I was just like, cool.
Hey, I'm enjoying this so far too, man. This has been a really wonderful time. Jess, I want to ask you now before we wrap things up, do you think you were being courageous?
I don't know. That's the best I can come up with.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's,
yeah.
And that's the most honest answer. And I know that Matt will attest to that.
Yeah.
God knows I enjoy him so much. I was just, oh God, I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday. And I watched him, debate someone, and I was just like, holy shit. I mean, this was like over the phone. And I was just like, oh my God. He brought up so many points, and I was just like, oh, damn. But, I mean, I called on once he was on, and Bionic Dance was on, and oh man, I get so much value from this show.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to let you know so much value from the show. Oh, and by the way, I like your hair.
Oh, thank you. Just got this cut today. This was I went to a new place that somebody recommended to me, and it was like, it was here in Austin. It was like $40 haircut. I've never spent that much for a haircut ever.
It's a good haircut, though.
I think it looks pretty good. I might go back. I'll see if I can afford it. I don't know, but it might be just a one-time thing. We'll see.
I like it.
Thank you.
For the record, I also cut my hair today too, but nobody seemed to notice.
Well, it's looked like that every time I've seen you, so that's wonderful. Well, Jess, I'm so I'm so happy that you get so much value out of the show. And let me tell you, I get value on the other end of this too. I mean, I'm constantly every week surrounded by great people that come on here and great calls that get to come in and hearing people's stories. It's just wonderful. So I'm glad you're feeling the love too. And Jess, I look forward to hearing from you again. All right.
Oh, definitely. I'm so glad you said that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And for the record, Jess, I do think that you are brave.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate that, really.
Oh,
I really do. I'm so glad to be a part of the show, man. I'm definitely have a lot more to talk about after being through 35 years of this shit.
Yeah.
And I tell you, New Jersey is like got so. I've been through this shit for 35 years, and at the time when I had my accident, there were like 2 places in the country that were brain injury. There was one in New Jersey and one in California. Now places are like everywhere. So like I feel like I'm a pioneer in this stuff.
Yeah,
so.
You are a pioneer, and according to ExCultBaby, you're a brave one at that. So, well, thanks again, Jess. Can't wait to hear from you again next time.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Good vibes tonight, ExCultBaby. You're bringing them in. This is all
so.
You got that mojo. Maybe it's the haircut.
Nice. Maybe.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to look into the spiritual aura of my bald head.
I don't know how you do that. Would you put like a microscope on there? Like what's the tool?
I don't know, but I'm sure somebody has some sort of bunk instrument that can supposedly detect it.
Maybe so.